Warning: the following podcast contains violent scenes that may be unsettling to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, and welcome back to Twin Cities by Night and our third story arc, Dread. Dread is set in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, Minneapolis, and St. Paul in the hot and humid summer of 2011. Join us again and continue to follow the journey of Kaetao, played by Quinn, and William, played by Slavic, as they continue to traverse the dark society held within the Twin Cities. They will be joined by three new Kindred: Warren, a Tremere, played by Adam; Valentine, a Nosferatu, played by Alex; and Lenny, a Nosferatu, played by Andrew. The coterie will find themselves joined together by a sense of dread. If you would like to contact us, you can follow us on Twitter at twin_cities_VTM or Facebook at Twin Cities by Night. We hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to the first session of Twin Cities by Night Dread. All right, so where we left off is, well, we're probably going to start with Kaetao first because Kaetao has a higher humanity currently than William. But as a little recap, where we left off was that Ophelia, the Toreador, was diablerized by Star, a recently embraced Melkavian, who Ophelia, the Toreador, kind of had at the beginning of a romantic relationship going on with when she was a mortal. And after Star diablerized Ophelia, she sent out a text message to Ophelia's coterie saying that she was scared because she just noticed that Roman Dunstern was outside scoping out her restaurant, which was also called Juno's, named after Ophelia's last name, and that she was afraid that something was about to happen because she felt that she was about to fall asleep or to get knocked unconscious pretty much because the sun was coming up. She also, though, sent out an email message to someone that she had been corresponding with, who she used the term V for their name, but their name was Valentine. And so right before Kaetao and William fell unconscious, they received a text message. And so we'll cover Kaetao first. Kaetao, before we even continue on with you waking up, describe what your haven is like. Like, how does your character escape the rays of the sun, during the day? How do they prevent that? Like, I know he has this apartment. We became familiar with it in the first two arcs. And we know it's small. It's kind of on the dingier side of Minneapolis in the northern section. But, like, how do you protect yourself from the sun during the day?
Well, I know he's definitely got, like, one of the first things to do is make sure to get some heavy curtains over, like, the windows, and also around. Also, he made sure to put that, like some blankets around the place just in case, like, he needs to, like, just get into, like, his apartment and then just immediately crash on the couch and just wrap himself up with it. But he tries to spend most of his time, if he needs to, in his apartment. When he go to his just stay in his bedroom, which is, like, pretty small, like only like a small, like, not even like probably like a window, probably like the size of his head. It's really small, can't even open. So just make sure to tape that up, cover it up nice and neat, so that nothing can get in.
So, and you also have your ghoul dog, your
Yeah.
Irish Mastiff, who kind of like protects, I guess, the kind of the area because of that supernatural connection that you have with it through the act of ghouling it. Mm-hmm. So when you wake up the next evening and your eyes snap open, what's going on in your head at that moment with everything that happened at the end of Homecoming and with that text message? Like, what's your first reaction when you awaken?
My first thought is, gotta make sure my place is secure. Gotta make sure my place is secure. So he's gonna, like, immediately, like, just sort of like ask his dog, do you smell anyone out? No, not normal around here.
When you open your bedroom door and come out of the bedroom where you stay at, you're hit with this eerie sense of, like, your Mastiff is sitting on its hind end, sitting proper and straight, but is staring directly at you, almost like this. And I would say it might even still occasionally, seeing that you're still kind of tied to your humanity with the humanity of 5 and you're still kind of young in the blood, that where there's this odd moment where, like, you open the door, you look, and you just see that not only do you see you have a connection with him, but you see that this is fundamentally an animal, while domesticated and while tied to you, is further down the path of the beast than you currently are. This is a dog that has done something that in the canine realm is taboo, and it ate human flesh. Even though it was dead human flesh, it's tasted human flesh. So not only was it corrupted by the vitae that you introduced into it, it's also been corrupted because it broke like that instinctual cardinal rule that is in all domesticated breeds of canines. So you see this there, and it's almost, I don't know how Kaetao would interpret it, but it's almost like the stark reminder, because while others have dealt with mortal ghouls, you have more of a close relationship than you can think of, like with the prince's mother and daughter, or Jonathan and Carla, or even William and his ghoul David. It's like you're reminded of every evening you open the door and you see it. It's a constant reminder. When you communicate with them and you ask them, there's no response that it gives that there's any threat in the area. Like there's no, when you communicate with it, it's not like there's a communication of like, hey dog, how's it going? And the dog's like, hey master. It's more like, by its body language,
Mm-hmm.
and by its mannerisms, and by how it seems, because like when you talk to it in that last arc, Homecoming, and it told you that smelled sex at the core of all the smells and fear that surrounded it, and you kind of put together that this group that had killed bugs may have been not fully committed as one member was, and they're afraid of one member. And that was through, you saw nervousness in the dog, and you saw apprehension like that, because that's something that I had not witnessed, especially in your vicinity and your area there.
As first, when I see the dog just open the door, it's like it just wears them down a little bit, just because it's reminded that he's not entirely just like everything himself, and in his dog too. There's something that's just not quite, not something something bestial, something just sort of savage in there. It's like just another reminder in his head that that's part of me now. It's gonna be for the rest of my existence thing. And so when he finds out that nothing's around, he's like, he asks his son, like, okay, so I'm not gonna repeat of that night. Then next thing he'll try to do is that he'll try to contact Ophelia.
So when you dial Ophelia's number, it rings about 7 times, and you get this voicemail message. And it's not a voice message left with her voice. It's a voice message left with the number 71555 is not answering. Please leave a voice message after the beep. And you hear the beep for you to leave a voice message.
All right, Ophelia, I got the texting, and quite frankly, I'm worried. If you need anything at all, contact us. We need to stick together, and this pretty much we're the only ones to carry whether or not each other dies. So let's just hang up awkwardly after that.
And I would say, even to add to like what we're talking about, you being reminded constantly by your mastiff there, seeing it, like especially what you did the night before, like pretty much destroying with your own supernatural bestial claws that the Christopher the Malkavian, you probably even feel more of an affinity to that. And that's got to be like a fucked up feeling. I mean, just in real life, imagine if you knew that you're fucking damned, and you're starting to realize that yes, you can live forever, but the longer you live, that gets this roller coaster that just keeps like, and what's going to happen when that roller coaster drops down. And that's the scary part that I don't think any of you are aware of. So anything else you're going to do at the moment?
At that moment, no. Probably just going to sit there and wait for a while just to see if anything happens. He's probably just like, okay, at least here, this is my territory. I'm somewhat safe here.
Oh, I like that, the territory thing. Like you're sitting there and you're guarding it. It's weird because it's almost like it is a like a sense of paranoia that's starting to creep through with Kaetao. Awesome stuff. All right, so William, explain to us a little bit. I kind of asked Kaetao, like we're aware of what your haven is. I mean, you can even talk about your haven a little bit more. Something that we never really delved into in the 2 previous arcs. Kind of tell us about his haven and like what he does to protect himself from the sun.
Yeah, I think it's like a very modern style of, it's basically an apartment building in an apartment building that's, pretty fancy and everything. All the furniture is probably like newish, sort of, but also not used very often. Doesn't spend that much time in his haven. How he protects himself from his sunlight, I think he'd probably have like electronic blinds where he just probably has a remote or something, just clicks it and, shuts.
The perks of being a white collar criminal in a way.
Yeah.
I like that. I when I was thinking about asking this question, I didn't even really think if that would be a potential answer, but it seems so William. It seems like because like he has that view of the Minnesota River, where like he can look out this nice picture window and just hit the button and like it comes down. Very very nice.
I think there would also be like a room that's completely dedicated to work, I suppose, where he'd have a computer or whatever, libraries, books, stuff like that.
One thing about you and the others is that you guys were all fundamentally embraced within the last 20-25 years. So computers and technology aren't that outstretched of a concept. So you guys can still grasp upon that and utilize it, especially you with accounting and investing, especially now, and we'll delve into that later, but with the deal you made with Hardy Ellsworth about, kind of like mutually working together to kind of cause some financial harm against a couple of the Dunstern companies, you would need an area like that. You would need an area where you can kind of just lose yourself into the work and not be distracted. I'm sure it's an analytical type job, and you don't want to be distracted during that. So that's pretty good. So when that night, when what we described, what happened to Ophelia happened, and you were starting to go into slumber, when they say like when Kindred fall asleep, it's not like falling asleep, it's like they're out of their consciousness cut off, right? But you had this odd moment where it's coming, and I would say like maybe after a couple decades you can kind of tell when it's going to happen, and you're laying in your bed and you hear in the background that slight sound of just like very gentle ocean waves that are coming upon a shore, and you kind of hearing it, and you're by yourself in the dark, and you feel this paranoia that's creeping up on you, and you're trying to like close your eyes and you're trying to like push it out, but you find when you close your eyes is that you're even closer to this ocean that you can hear. And there comes a moment where your eyes are closed and you try to open them to escape the vision that you're having behind your lids, and it's not snapping out of that vision, and you see this figure that's standing in this pure body of black water, and the backdrop is this gray, the sky and the horizon is gray, but you can't see anything, and you just see this body of water that continues to go on, and you see this silhouette, and you realize that the silhouette is of Ophelia, but she's almost onyx in her shape, like just like the water that she is protruding from. And for a second, you're trying to like make out her distinct features, and you almost like want to hear her voice. And then you just see that slowly the figure starts like melting away and becoming part of this body of water until eventually it's nothing. And at that very moment when you see the very last like part of the top of her head that dissipates, it's when you snap unconscious and the sun comes up. You wake up. What is going on in William's mind with the events that happened, the text message and that vision that you had?
Yeah, William will probably be worried. He's going to call Ophelia or write her a message at least. And I'm guessing she doesn't answer, so he'll probably go to Juno's. That's her haven, right?
Yep, that's her haven, Juno's. You get out of your apartment and you take the elevator down. But you put on like how does William dress when he leaves? Like what's like with what's going on with William when he's stepping out into this late spring evening? Like how is he dressed for the elements? Is he dressed like he normally does, or is it like
how cold is it?
I would say it's about 75, 80 degrees at the moment. You can tell that's gonna be a humid summer. You can tell.
Oh, that's pretty warm actually. So yeah, I think he'd probably be, I guess, business casual, like have a blazer or whatever, and I don't know, pants.
Slacks and like loafers. Yeah. So he's still the reason I asked is because I wanted to see like if like the dementation that hit him, if it's affecting his, outward behavior, or if he's compartmentalizing and keeping it internal.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of trying to embrace it as part of him.
I like that. Like incorporate it into who he is.
Yeah, because he was already trying to do that before, and that's actually why he's, going to Juno's right now, because he had a very bad premonition.
So you go down to the elevator. The elevator takes you down, and you're sitting there, and you hear like the slight sound of music as it goes down, and you hear the ding as the elevator opens up, and you're in this lobby of your apartment complex that you live in, and you see like that Turkish maroon rug with like the gold, like intricate design that lays out before there, and you see like these huge vases that have like these green leafy plants that are sticking out of it, and you kind of see like these marble benches that are on the inside for people to sit on, even though no one ever sits on them, and you slowly walk across this Turkish carpet, and then you get to where you're on this tile, and you can hear the clicking of your loafers on this tile. And as you get towards these double glass doors, this figure who's kind of wearing like a maroon suit jacket and dark slacks that kind of match the internal design will open the door as you walk out. And as you get out, you see that a valet is standing there, and he's like, one minute, Mr. Strothers. And you see him, they have like this little walkie-talkie that's at like this little standing, where they can stand there, and you see him call into it. And eventually you see your BMW come rolling up front, and then you see the door open up from the driver's side door, and you see a valet driver get out, and they walk towards you, and they kind of hand you your keys for you to drive. You start driving on the road towards Juno's, which is about a 10 to 15 minute drive. And like I said, you could sense that humidity that was in the air, which usually means that it's going to be a pretty humid summer. And you can see as you look out of your front window of your car, you can kind of see where the rain clouds are kind of like covering the moon, which is kind of full at the time and making it harder to see the stars. Unlike where in winter, a lot of times there, you can see the crispness of the sky. And eventually you make it in front of Juno's, and you see as you drive up and park onto the side, you see they have like these large picture windows that are there, and you see that there's people that are eating within there, and it's kind of like nice, bright environment that's coming from within. And you get out of your car and you kind of make your way to the front and open the door. And as you open the door, you're welcomed by the rush of conversation. Like you hear conversation going on around you. You hear like very light, like Greek themed music that's kind of like playing over this PA. You see this grand piano that's kind of like sitting on this mini stage off to the right, which you never quite have seen anyone play in your last 6 months of knowing Juno, but it's kind of sits there like mahogany and really rich in color. And as you walk in there, you see Gina, the Asian lady who way back what seems like ages ago when you four were going there trying to find something on Paul Hughes. She was a junkie living in these horrible apartments in St. Paul. And you saw that Ophelia kind of extended this kindness to her and told her, hey, if you clean up your act, I'll get you a job so you can get your kids out of custody. And she sees you, and she knows at this point, Gina knows whenever either you or Jonathan or Kaetao walk in that, you have to be kind of treated like VIP. But you got the sense too, though, that like the relationship between Gina and Ophelia wasn't like the relationship between you and David or Jonathan and his school Carla or anything like that. It was more of a peer, like an employer, not like an indentured, like I need to please you kind of job. So when Gina comes up to you, she's like, you see she has this warm smile on her face. She has like her very dark, oil black hair is like in a ponytail, and her skin, her Asian cream color skin that used to look jaundiced and yellow back when you guys saw her when she was in the throes of a heroin addiction is healthy, and her body looks more like it has more fluid retention now. And you see that she walks with this pride of having a job, and she goes up to you and she's like, Mr. Strother, hi. Is there something I can assist you with? I wasn't expecting you tonight.
Yes, I'm here to visit Ophelia. Is she here by any chance?
Well, I haven't seen her for like the last couple nights, and she looks around. She's like, here, come over here to the bar so we can have some privacy if you would. And she's like, would you like a drink, sir?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
And she kind of like takes you to like a corner bar seat, and she stands on the corner of it, and she offers the seat for you to sit. And she's like, Ophelia gave me this odd phone call a couple nights that kind of worried me. And she told me that she was going to go do something, and that she it was very vague, but she told me that where the papers for the ownership of the bar and restaurant is at, and said if anything was to happen to her that I was supposed to find them, and I haven't heard from her since. And frankly, I don't know what to do at this moment. And I've knocked on her door upstairs, and she hasn't answered. And I don't want to like break in, or I don't want to call the police over something. But
Let's see. Perhaps then I will tell Mr. Bren about this, and he will help us get inside. I'm going to be honest with you, Gina. May I call you Gina?
yes, of course, yes.
I'm very afraid for her safety and well-being, and as such, I do believe that it would be wise to take a look into her home. But please do not call the police. I'm not sure. You know, Ophelia, she has a habit of sometimes disappearing for a while to just, you know.
Yeah, she left. Like she did this a couple like 6 months ago, right when I first got hired with her. So do you want to go up there now? You said you wanted to call Mr. Bren or Mr. Chase?
I suppose I'll send them a message.
Okay.
I take out my phone and I message Kaetao and Chase. You know, Ophelia, not here, blah, blah, blah. Taking a look at her haven if you want to come. You know, you're invited, basically.
And when you're in the middle of texting, she like pats your shoulder warmly. She's like, I have customers to take care of, but feel free to go up there if you need to, okay? And she kind of looks at you pleadingly.
Of course.
And then when you say of course for a second, there's a moment where like your eyes connect with hers and you see like she is looking for comfort within you. And it's almost like that hits a wall. And
yeah.
she sees it, and you see there's a second where she's like pleading, like her eyes are open and wide, and she's pleading for you to like to give her comfort. And that, but what I was saying is too is that like she senses that you're different fundamentally now, like where she seeks human comfort and she sees coldness coming back at her. And that's that humanity of 4. And you see where she like snaps back into reality for a second, and then she like loses herself into work, which is going to make things interesting. So
yeah, I'm gonna need her willpower.
Okay, her willpower is 5.
I'm using Dementation 1, Incubus Passion on her, which basically allows me to increase or decrease a certain emotion someone is feeling.
So those of you who are wondering why William has Dementation is because of when Kimberly used that Dementation on him and like basically walloped him for a year. In game terms, I this is way back when that happened. I explained I treated it almost like how we treat Diablerie, and the fact that he got hit so hard by that and kind of had a minute tapping into the milk. I'm not calling it the Malkavian Madness Network, but in game terms, it's called the Malkavian Madness Network. That he had the potential to learn the first dot of Dementation without having to be taught it. Now he can't learn 2, 3, 4, anything like that. But it was just getting walloped so hard by that it awoke something in him. And that's what we're trying to tap into with William, is the fact that all of this is him awakening internally to what he thinks is something, greater.
So, this isn't something, that he feels bad for or anything, but this is actually because he doesn't want her snooping around, doesn't want her to bother him.
All right. So how many successes did you get?
2, which means it works for 1 hour.
Okay. So you see there's a second where like she's looking at you for comfort, then she snaps back in instinctual fear, and then you see her tense for a second, and then you see just it melts away. And that's when she pats your shoulder gently and warmly and goes off to work again. You're sitting there, you get the text message, Kaetao, from William.
Okay, that's when I see that, I was like, that's not good. I'm gonna have to come. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to check this out. He's gonna get into his whole crappy car and just sort of like, sputter his way over to a Juno's.
So your car, you eventually roll into Juno's, and you see, I take it you're wearing, like, did you spend a blood pool point, by the way, to heal your wound, your permanent wound that you have?
No, I think I'm just letting it. Yeah, just letting it go this night.
I want to ask you something about that too before we jump into the Juno scene here. Does that permanent wound, what's his view on it? Is it like something that keeps him grounded, or is it something that reminds him of weakness, or is it just my overthinking it, and to him it's just a wound that occurred when he got embraced? Or
I think when he first got it, it was just a sign that first he thought it was something wrong with him. Like, why can't I heal this time? Am I not being a good vampire? What's up with this? Then he realized, oh, it's just sometimes it just happens. Sometimes things just stick that way. So it's just like, huh. Well, I guess if it sort of helps remind him that, yeah, I didn't really go into this willingly. I was sort of not really given a choice, and so it's like a bit of a reminder to him.
So you walk in and you see the scene that I saw before, and you see a second where you catch eyes with Gina as you're walking by, and then you see William is sitting there on the edge of the bar. They're sitting in a chair. William, you see Kaetao come walking up, sees on you guys.
Hey, no news yet. Nothing's changed.
Nothing at all. I suppose we should take a look upstairs.
Yeah.
Also, no. He didn't message me either. I suppose we'll have to take a look into the Medusa next.
Yeah. Well,
this is very peculiar.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe he's off doing. I don't know what he does anymore. It's. Yes, let's just go.
Yeah. Do we have keys to the?
I don't think so.
Sort of.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to break in.
All right.
As you guys head up there, you see Gina comes walking up as she sees both of you stand up, and she kind of like takes you to follow her back behind where the bar is at. There's a door that goes behind the bar into like the kitchen area, and as you guys can kind of see, like and I think Kaetao, you saw this kitchen area before in the first arc when William was trying to talk to Star when she was immortal and try to find information about those mansion type parties, and you were back there with Jonathan and Ophelia, and so this you get a sense of like recognition. You remember it, William. This is the first time you've seen it. You see like a stainless steel center like table, and you see like pots and pans that are hanging from the top, and you kind of see like a couple of gas ovens, you know what I mean, and a large like freezer fridge type thing, and then next to the freezer fridge, what you didn't notice before is you see like there's like a pushing door, and as you see Gina pushing the door and she motions up, and you see that there's some steps that go up, and then there's a door that is up there that looks like a normal door that kind of has like a lock, and then she's like, I have to go back to work. And you notice like she seems very relaxed, but she's still not looking at William. She's looking more at you now, Kaetao, where she's like can kind of get more of a quote unquote humanity feel from you. She doesn't feel so uncomfortable. And then she turns around and walks back into the kitchen where there's a couple cooks are still cooking and doing stuff in there. You guys walk up to the steps, about 15 steps. I get up there. So you said you want to try to pop the door open. Is that what you're going to try doing?
Yeah.
What's your strength currently right now? 2. And you don't have potent. So I would say if you spend like 3 blood pool points, you could pop it easily.
3.
All right. And what's your blood pool currently at right now?
Not taking 1 off for the waking up. That's 6.
6. And what's yours currently at, William?
3.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I'll be joining you that number if I do this.
So you pop the door, and you see Kaetao stands there, William, and you just see him like take his shoulder. And are you wearing that leather jacket that you like to wear a lot because of your arms being all hairy now and everything? Yeah, you see like him kind of has his leather jacket on, and you see like there's a second he looks down at you with like his bald like shaved head, and he just hits it while he's looking at you, William, and pops his shoulder into the door, and you see, and it's weird because you see like the frame like that the doors around just like creak a little bit, and then you see the door swings open slowly, and you look and you see that like basically the deadbolt just kind of like snap in the wood from doing it. As it creeps open, well, you walk in and you kind of see like there's this like the hardwood floors that are there on the top there. Like this was a loft that was rented out when another business was ran down below at one time. It could have been a restaurant that was down there. It could have been a bar, but this was a loft that has always been a loft up there, And you see that there's these real heavy, like kind of darker brown and velvet curtains that are over the windows to block out the windows, And you see like there's this old brown leather couch and a brown reclining chair, and you see it has like throw blankets that are over it, a couple white throw blankets, that are hand sewn together, crocheted together. And you see like there's an old like violin case and an old cello, and you see like there's like this nice stereo, and you see that there's a collection of records within there, and you see like there's a stack of books that like she never got a bookshelf. She just kind of would stack the books in the corner along there that she would read. And you see like some desk, and you see there's a laptop there, and then you see like off in the far corner, there's like a bed that she would lay at, where like it was in its own like loft of a sort that didn't have any windows facing it. And there's like kind of like some curtains, like a canopy curtains that she had at one end of it, to where if she'd close them, it would protect her from the rays of the sun. And as soon as you open it, you're like looking, and this is all sinking in, and then you just see on the floor, you see like this ash that's on the floor, and this dust, and it's just like, and it looks like it hasn't been scraped, and it's just there, laying there. It's not in the shape of anything, but just not last night. You saw something similar when Christopher's life was taken, or when Kimberly was diablerized, and you see that now in this living room. So scenes on you guys.
Is that what I think it is?
I suppose we should take a look.
This does not look good.
Nope.
What's going on in your head right now, Kaetao? Like with like Jonathan not answering, and then like seeing this at the moment.
At this point, he's definitely starting to get worried that, okay, if she's really dead, then what's stopping them from going after the rest of us? Is it just her? Is it all of us? It's sort of just like, what does this mean? She just had Roman Dunster, does that mean they didn't make moves against us? He's just sort of going into panic mode, paranoia mode.
William will try to find a container for her ashes.
So you see William moving around, and William, you're able to you're looking around, and and you see like this coffee can kind of thing where she has like these painting materials and stuff like that, and like she kept brushes and pens and colored pencils and stuff like that in there, but there's really no top to it. But yeah.
Okay. So I guess he'll try to very gently, gather up all the ashes and put them into a container, and just we should probably get her an urn.
Yeah, like what's going on in your head at this moment? Like while you're doing that, while you're literally like putting these ashes of someone that you're like in this coffee can, for lack of a better term, that you were just talking to, and you're worried about, and you had like this odd premonition about, like what does that bring up in you, man?
Like, partly he, feels like leaving the ashes on the floor is just very disrespectful, as much as putting them into a coffee can is, whatever. But it's still just, it's almost like autopilot. It's not like he does it consciously to be good, but.
So you're saying like he I like that term, autopilot. So you're just running off of like instinct at the moment. Like obviously you can't get all the ashes in, but you can get a good amount in. Yeah. So you're just kind of like, this is your way of like processing what you just kind of seen and everything that's going on at the moment.
Not this shit again. Oh, this is even worse than. Is something happening in this city again?
20 years, nothing. Then 1 year. Call Chase. He needs to know about this.
Yeah, I call Chase.
So it goes straight to voicemail, and it's like, "This is Chase. Leave a number," and then you hear beep.
Chase, Ophelia was dusted in her haven. We found her remains here. We hope you're all right. If just call us so we know you're fine.
So what are you guys gonna do from here?
I'll try to look around to see if I find any signs of like 4th century, or sign that someone broke in, or aside from us.
I'll ask Gina if she didn't see anyone enter.
I'm going to have you give me a perception and investigation, difficulty 6, Kaetao, and then William, we'll go ahead and handle your scene right now while you go down, while he rolls out, okay? William, you see Kaetao start looking around. You start heading down the stairs. You get down, walk through the kitchen. You hear like the frying. You hear chatting between the two cooks. You walk like right past them, like beeline right past them. You even notice while you walk past them, like they kind of like one is sitting there and he looks at you and it's kind of like you see for a second like that awkward moment where you're like trying to go left, try to go right because someone's like kind of nervous. You see him get like that way around you, but he like does that weird where like he puts his back almost towards and gives you like the total clear right away that you can. And as you walk by, you walk back in and you walk past the bar into the crowd. You see Gina right away. It's almost like as soon as you walk into the room again, you see Gina like look up for a second and you see like she's almost like supernaturally drawn to you. And it was because of that connection that you tapped into her in that moment where you reached into her mind and her emotions and you fear it. And like when you connected to her, you almost like her fear that she felt realizing you weren't that close to humanity was almost palatable. You almost were able to taste that fear and almost were about to water it down. And so being able to do that with her, there's this odd connection at this moment. So she senses when you walk in the room. And it's almost like she's drawn to you because that fear, not only were you the source of the fear, but you got rid of the fear. So she feels this weird pull towards you at the moment. So as soon as you walk back there, you see just in the daze, she kind of just like walks towards you, but you see the closer she gets to you, like she's starting to like get a little bit more, I don't want to say panicked, but like someone who's about to be knows they're about to be told bad news, you know? And she's like, as she's like walking.
I'm not gonna tell her she's dead or anything.
Oh yeah, I know that, but it's almost like it's a fear, right? She knows you were going into this room to look at something, and you're coming walking down. Everyone's almost in a way expected to hear bad news whenever a situation, especially with the ominous phone call she gave and all that jazz. Not saying you don't have to tell her. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying like she's expecting to hear bad news at the moment, So, and she comes walking up to you, and she's like, "Did you find anything?"
Nothing of importance. Have you seen anyone else enter her room, I suppose, or her apartment?
I have not. No, I haven't. I mean, the last time I saw her was about 2 days ago. Like last night I closed up at the same time, and I went and picked up my kids from the babysitter and went home.
Are there any cameras here that we could check?
Not that I know of. There's no camera. We don't really have a security system in here. We really had no reason to have one,
Well, there's a reason now, I suppose.
What? Did you think something happened?
Well, we're not sure, and, this would sort of put our fears to rest if we sort of had footage or anything. But, thank you for your help, and we'll see what we find out. I'll contact you, of course, if you found out anything. Can you give me your phone number, please?
Yes, of course. And you see she like goes and she has like the little half apron thing, some way she pulls out this thing and writes a number and she kind of tears it off and gives it to you. May I have your number in case I find out anything and I can reach out to you?
Yeah, I'll send her a text message so she has it.
All right, so Kaetao, how many successes did you get?
I got 3.
So you're looking around, Kaetao, and you're like sitting there and you're like trying to find. You don't find any forced entry. The only thing that you kind of like find that looks like just a little bit odd is the fact that you don't really see any like footsteps at all in the ash. Like you're like looking around the ash and you would think, I mean, you don't have that much experience obviously killing vampires, or you haven't seen that much, but you would think that you would see some kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm thinking of? I want to use grappling, but that's not the right word, but some kind of commotion that showed that there was struggle. And you really don't see anything like that there. Now, mind you, you're not any kind of like homicide detective PI, but you just find that's weird. You're like, there's got to be like a shoe print or something. You don't see anything. So it doesn't look like from here that there was like a huge brawl or scene or struggle or anything like that. So,
all right. So whatever went down here she didn't feel threatened by this. So then who, but it's Roman, doesn't make any sense. At that point, Kaetao, once he sees that there's nothing of that, nothing forced entry, he just look around, seeing that clue, we need to get someplace. I don't know, just go back downstairs and like, we need to talk to Chase about this. We need to go find out whatever's going on about this. Do you want to try either his house or the Medusa? Which do you think he'll be at?
Well, if I know Chase, it's probably going to be the Medusa.
All right, let's go there.
Yeah. Maybe his ghoul will know more.
I take it you're taking separate vehicles because you both
Yeah,
have your
yeah.
own vehicles and everything. All right. So you guys are driving your vehicles to. It's about 20 minutes away because the Medusa was along the. For those of you who don't remember the Missouri River there, and kind of like northeastern St. Paul. And as you're driving up there, and you eventually pull off into the kind of, because he had like the gravel, the very fine gravel, small pebble kind of drive parking lot, and you notice that there's only one vehicle that's in the parking lot, and it's not Chase's, and you don't recognize the vehicle at all as you hear the tires crunch over this gravel and the pebbles, and eventually as both your vehicles come to a stop. But you do see that like through the glass, front door, because this is, for you to remember, Medusa was in the process of getting renovated, or was renovated, but used to kind of just be like this tiki torch kind of bar type place. So it has like a glass door that pushed open, and you can kind of see lights are within the glass door, but you can't really make out anything else.
We're gonna walk in.
You go walking up, you hear your shoes go over the gravel. Eventually you get to cement that's like a sidewalk that's in front of it. You push open the door and you hear the door squeak, and as you come in you see the dance floor lights are on, but there's no music playing, and you see like just looks like someone went through and ransacked this place. You see like tables are flipped over. You see like how he kind of said there was like some mirrors or some like little glass thing or whatever floor thing where college girls could dance, stuff like that. Seats, the upholstery on seats are cut, look like it was just trashed. And you look to the right where the bar was at, and you see like where there used to be liquor bottles on the back of the bar. They're all strewn about and broke. And you see, well, both of you guys give me a perception alertness roll, difficulty 6, if you would, please.
2 successes for me.
6.
As you walk in, Kaetao, because it was only just a couple days ago that you actually walked in by yourself into this bar, and you had that weird, odd moment with Carla while she tried to like make moves on you, and try to like come to some kind of, you were actually even contemplating at the time maybe making a deal with her, like, hey, I'll put in a good word with Jonathan to show you more affection if you kind of leak me some information on what he may be working on. And as you're walking towards there, you feel this ominous sense of just like you're going to see something that is going to be off-putting. And as you walk closer to the bar, and each step brings you more forward, you're looking at the top of the bar, and as you get closer, you're eventually going to see behind the bar. As you get behind the bar, you see this figure that is Carla, and she's on her knees just wearing like this button-up plaid shirt. She has no pants on or no panties or anything like that, and she's just has this like Brillo pad in her hand, and she's just like scrubbing her forehead, and she's just sobbing, and just like someone who's like almost hyperventilating because they're crying so hard, and she's just sitting there just like rubbing this Brillo pad on her forehead. And as you're looking, you can see like blood that's like trickling down from her skin, being like having this steel wool just being embraced into there. And there comes a second when you're like sitting there and you're just like overtaken, and you hear William come behind you, and from seeing how William is and this connection that you've had with William being a coterie, that you can tell that he's probably hungry at the moment. And you have this quick.
We're both hungry at this point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he has 6, right? I thought you had 6 blood. Okay, yeah.
I have
Well,
6, and then I spent the blood to break open the door.
Oh, so you're at 3 now. You're both hungry.
Yeah, we're both at 3.
Okay, well then both give me self-control roll, please. Difficulty 4. 3.
I have 0 successes.
Oh god. Can I spend willpower on this?
Yeah, you can't spend a willpower on conscious rolls, but you can spend a willpower on self-control. Yeah. Definitely.
All right, that's what I'm gonna do that. I got 5 successes plus counting willpower.
William, as you walk up, you see Kaetao like stop for a second, and you're out of curiosity. Like what are you looking at? And you kind of get close to him, and before you can even like look, you smell the copper smell, and you hear the sobbing and the heavy breathing of something behind the bar, and it like brings this like it starts stirring within you. And there's a moment where you're like looking over, and like what you're gonna see. Like it's almost, it goes from a sense of apprehension to like a sense of reward. Like when you look over here, you're gonna see something that's yours. And as you like get closer, and your eyes like go over the wood of the bar, and you see the scene that I described, you just feel like the beast come out from behind you. So now I'm gonna give you 2 options, William. One is you can spend a willpower point and turn and run off, have to leave the scene, or
Yeah.
2, you can let the frenzy overtake you. It's your call.
Yeah, I think William will fight the beast off, by using a willpower point, and he's just
gonna run out. So yeah, you're gonna have to leave, the room.
Yeah.
Kaetao, you see, Jonathan's school there, and you see William come up to you, and you see him look, and you're expecting for a second, like, William to be like, what the fuck? Just like you feel at this moment, and you look just to your right to expect to see William look at you and have the same feeling. Instead, you see like this smile crack over William's face, and you see like his fangs extend, and you see like his eyes, like the pupils start dilating, and these signs right away, and you see like his muscles in his face start growing taut, and then you're like, oh shit, this guy's about to lose it. And then you see for a second where he closes his eyes and he just like turns around, his bolts, like speed walks, runs out the door and just pushes the glass door open and just like goes into the parking lot as you're left alone by yourself right now. And you still hear the sobbing, like Carla still has not noticed what is going on. And I would say even like this would be a good opportunity for me to ask you, because you saw Carla at her worst in this very fucking place. And then you saw Carla against her will being forced to be like in love with someone. And now you see this. Like, what's going on in your head right now?
Oh my god, this shit is out of control. This is not good. This is why you don't give blood to people. This is why you don't give blood to people. Do not do this ever. Do not ever do this to anyone. Do not ever do this to a person. Do not. And so after it's just like, as soon as he sees like William run out, he's like, just breathe a sigh of relief, and then he's like, Carla, stop, just stop what you're doing, stop.
And as you you walk around the bar, are you trying to say over the bar, or are you trying to walk behind the bar and like stop? Okay, as you walk behind, you just see her like her doing that, and you're like, stop, Carla. And you just see a moment where like she like stops and like puts down this bridle pad, and you look at the bridle pad and you just see like this crimson just is like all caked into like the green of the steel wool bridle. You can't even see the green anymore. And you just see her look up to you, and just see like it looks like she has road rash all across her forehead, and she's like this like it's not even like bleeding heavy, because it's just like it's like that that road rash, but you just see like her blood and tears are mixed, and she's just sobbing, and like her freckles that she had on her face, you can't make it out anymore. She's just like I can't get it off, and she's like, I can't get it off, and you just see like tears are crawling down. And there's a second where you're hit like with the understanding of what it is the fact that she's trying to like scrub off on her forehead the I know that was written on her marker after you guys came upon her in there. And she's just like looking at you, like pleading at you, like she just can't get it off. And she's just, and there's a moment while you're just staring at her. What do you do?
I'm just like, just give me the wool. Just give me the wool. I'm just gonna take it away from her.
And you see this for a second, like your call, like the calming voice. And maybe it was because there was a moment, who knows? Maybe it was because that moment where you talked to her at the bar, or maybe instinctually she is starting to remember things, and she remembers vaguely like you caring and being empathetic about what happened to her, to where you see like gently like this offering that like this offering she's given to you. She like with both hands hands you this bridle pad, and just like and like gives it to you and is like pleading, and you see her hands are shaking, you know what I mean? And you're starting to also realize that like this scene is the scene that you saw her in that bathroom, when you came upon her, where she was just wearing a shirt and like her pants were gone, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And she's and it's almost like, I don't know. I would assume it's almost like a sense of deja vu at this moment. All right.
Like, and just like, sort of like, just lead her away from behind her. What happened? Just, can you tell me what happened?
She's like trying to, breathe, and she's shaking. You can feel her like quiver too, like under you. It's a really disheartening, just concerning feeling, I guess. I don't know, but you just see her, you feel her quivering, and she's like, what did I do? Why did they do that to me? Why did they do that to me? Why did they? You just are like able to piece together, because Kaetao is a reasonably intelligent individual. You're able to like she's trying to remember this shit. You're starting to get this feeling like whatever Jonathan did to her isn't working anymore, or that mind fuck shit that like creeped you the fuck out. Like, it's like, what's going on? She's not, it's almost like her memories are coming back to her in a way, or what was scrubbed from her, All
right. I see. Yes. Don't worry. It's not. It's over now. You're not. No one's gonna hurt you anymore. Okay, you're safe here.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I hate him. Why the fuck am I here? Why did I even take this fucking job? Why did I quit? What the fuck? And she's looking at you like she's like has this like sense of like she needs answers, and like she's just like finding herself in a situation where if she was thinking rationally, she would never have been in this situation in the first place, you know? William, as you're outside, you like burst through this glass door, and you're just like the warm humidity just hits you like kind of like a warm wet towel for a second, and you like close your eyes and you open them and you're looking at the gravel and you just feel the coolness on you. What's going on with you right now?
Well, William hates losing control, so he's very unhappy with how this went. He knows that he can't go there right now, so actually probably what he's gonna do is he's gonna text Kaetao that he's gonna meet with him later, and he's gonna go feed on one of his herd.
All right. When I get that text, I'm gonna text him back saying, make sure to check Chase's home. Check on them. Might check on the thin bloods. Just check.
Right.
Oh, hello again, folks. I'd like to tell you about the Facebook group we run called White Wolf and Onyx Path RPGs, Gameplay and Media. Have you ever wished you could have an easy way to find gameplay videos and podcasts, or just media in general that deals with your favorite White Wolf role-playing games? Or have you ever wished you could find a forum to share gameplay that you have recorded? One that won't be drowned out by random posts and discussions, so that your media could get the attention you deserve. The group is specifically run with the sole intent of it being a one-stop shop for people to view or share media involving the games we all love. We take thorough steps to ensure the page does not become cluttered and is easy to traverse. The group is already immense and continuing to rapidly grow, with new media being shared every day. Stop on by. We hope to see you there.